Hello and welcome to our 12th episode of Standing Stones. I'm really excited for this episode because it's gonna it says it's gonna be a lot of Beckney stuff going on with the baby and whatnot. I'm really excited to find out that whole story. So yeah, before we jump into all of that, I'm gonna let everybody introduce themselves, and I have a few words to say about our sponsors, which I'm gonna get links into chat here. Which are Fundamental RPG. It's the system that this game runs on. The book looks like this. You can pick up your own copy on Amazon if you want the physical book. If you prefer to use like a tablet or your phone or something like that with a PDF instead, you can get that version at coffee.com/raven, like it says at the bottom of the screen, and until the end of the month. So for another 3 or 4 days, it is half off. So you can get the PDF for less than $10. So it's a good time to grab that. Also at coffee.com/raven, you'll find Intrepid, which is adventuring gear for real life, apparel and drinkware and things like that with a cool tabletop theme to it. So go check that out as well. And then Die Hard Dice, which are incredible polymer and metal dice sets. They also sell a lot of dice, like adjacent and accessory type things as well. You can find all of that at dieharddice.com. And if you use the code BLACKFEATHER, all one word with a capital B, you can get 10% off your entire order. And at the moment, I highly recommend checking out the Fey Bloom set. It's really, really pretty. It's got purple and blue and sort of a gradient with these silver numbers on them. There's a direct link in chat if you want to go check that out. But I really like those. And then finally, if you want to catch up on this show or others on the channel, you can do so at the Fantasy Network at watch.thefantasy.network. All that out of the way, we'll go to the top left with Zan. Tell us a little bit about Fen and yourself.
Yeah, totally. So I'm Zan. I'm a professional GM and content creator for 5e World of Darkness, Powered by the Apocalypse, and a whole bunch of other really great games out there. Honestly, at this point, instead of World of Darkness, I should say they came from Beneath the Sea, because I play that way more. Yeah, and I'm playing Finn Karst, who has just found out that he is a lake bound and not a river bound, which is news. They have another name, and they're not aware of their other name. They're not really sure that they want to know what their other name is, but other people are really intent on reminding them that they do have another name. So, it's Finn is. Oh, he's also. They're also made of water. Like, I feel like I left that out. They are also just water, and that's Finn. Water and a little bit of anxiety and confusion.
Yeah. Awesome. Next we got Icy Historian. Tell us a little bit about Veshna and yourself.
Hello, team. It's me, Icy Historian, at Icy Historian, all the places on the internet that I feel like being found. I am playing Veshna Brevik, a fox girl who's just trying to figure out what the heck she wants out of this life and in this world. And she just sort of came back from an adventure, bringing her friend Fen to the lake, where everything went totally fine and everything has been great. And it's awesome and everything's fine. It's all going to be fine. It's fine. Also, sometimes a fox.
I feel like I need to pull up that video that Econorlax threw together with the clips. That was amazing. With the fine comment. Yeah, totally fine. Next we've got Jay. Tell us a little bit about Beckney and yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Jay, or Alien Jays. I'm a writer and a game dev, and you can find me on Twitter and itch.io at Alien Jays. Tonight I'm playing Beckney, who is a goblin who thinks, or at least was taught, that they were a pangolin. That may or may not be the truth anymore, but they still love their sibling, who is a pangolin, and they're currently trying to deal with the fact that they now have a baby to be, like, wholly responsible for. They named it, so now they have to keep it. And they're keen to have some words with the ex-parents of this baby and also potentially Beckney themselves. So that's Beckney.
Awesome. Looks like I'm next. I'm Raven. I'm the creative director for the Raven Evermore, which is my brand for all the various things that I do, most of which are tabletop related or adjacent, like voice acting and writing and editing and a bunch of cool stuff like that. You can find all of my different social media profiles and website and all that jazz at my Linktree, which is in chat. Or if you can't see chat, it's linktr.ee/theraven, like it's spelled below my face. And then I play Callie, or Cauliflower. She is sort of like your anime protagonist type trope, where she's not super bright, but she likes to fight a lot, and is really protective, and just cares about her friends a whole lot. She's a lot of fun to play. She gets into trouble in some unique ways. Yeah, that's me and my character. Next, we've got Pat. Tell us a little bit about Pyron and yourself.
Hey, I'm Pat. I'm a tactric on Twitter and other places online. I play games, like this game, here and on my channel, and all kinds of places, that mostly those two places, but wherever people will have me. And I play Pyron, who is in fact a pangolin, and is Beckney's sibling. He's also has no idea what he's doing with his life, but he's good at making things shiny and sparkly and blow up every so often, and very into stagecraft and all that. He's just gonna keep doing that, and hopefully supporting Beckney tonight.
Awesome. Next, we would normally have Hannah, who plays Sage. She's super awesome. Go give her a follow on Twitter at @wohannah, like it says on the screen. And then hopefully we'll have her back next week. And then next we'll hop over to Calliope. Tell us a little bit about yourself in this really cool world that you've put together, and take it away.
Hello, I'm Calliope. I just got back from vacation, and I'm kind of tired, but really excited to be here. And I've had lots of time in the car to think about what's happening tonight. You can find me here. You can find me sometime over on Sam's channel. You can find me thinking about TTRPGs and children and middle level learners, and it's always something going on. But today we find our crew. It is just before dawn. Last night we had a big blowout party to name our baby. And do you remember what the baby's name was?
Leto.
It was Leto, you're right. Well, I mean, I know you know. But, and so baby Leto, we had a big party that was sort of brought everybody together, and there was lots going on. And now it's like very early the next morning. So we're going to do a little pan over and see where everybody ended up sleeping. So first, I want to say the foxes are by the fire that has died down in a very large pile of puppies. And I'm wondering if Veshna, Pyron, Beckney, Leto, any of them are in the puppy pile. They would very much want you to be.
I think Beckney probably would, yeah.
I feel like Veshna reluctantly joined the puppy pile, feeling like she had kind of rejected their offers of comfort before, and so now she's like, oh, okay, puppy pile. Like, now that the emergency is over, now I can receive affection.
Nice. The last time we saw Pyron, he was playing tag with the fox kids, and they rolling around in a ball, and they were all running away in delight. So
he's probably in there.
I feel like he's down at the bottom with many small foxes on top of him, and it's delightful. And they're very warm, and they're a little wiggly, but I think they're good company on a cold, it's always very cold right before sunrise. So I think you are all very warm. What about Beckney and Leto?
I think Beckney's in there, yeah. I mean, whatever Leto's preference is, really. It's hard to keep a leash on the kid.
Right. I think Leto would definitely be there. And there's enough, I like to just think this big sort of rambling pile of everyone is just sort of passed out on the beach. Maybe with some blankets and stuff. All of the fawns are in their hammocks. And where, they've stretched hammocks out all over between them. What happened to Callie? Where did Callie end up?
I think Callie's probably asleep, in a tree,
Mm-hmm.
like on a big branch or something like that.
Okay. And yeah, and I think that maybe before they left, we'll find. I mean, we know because we know that Hannah's not here, but you don't know yet that Sage has gone off to do something today that we'll talk more about in a bit. But I think
Okay.
before they left, they like made sure that you were warm enough and like tucked a little blanket up there with you.
Aw.
And what about Fen? Where did Fen end up?
Oh, well. That's a great question. I think that Finn wound up kind of in like a little shallow pool kind of off the shore, just a little bit, just so like, you know, happy to be here and like happy to see and explore, but like definitely not removed from the event with their friends. I think that if there was like one shot of Finn's night, it's just a Gar just swimming between two slightly like differentiating shapes of water and just kind of talking and trying to understand what this is now, and just kind of letting this Gar swim from one pool to the other.
Okay, great. So it's like just the beginning of dawn, right? And I think Una comes over and is like, come here, psst, come on, wake up, come here. You have to see this, come here.
Yeah. Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah, this
yeah,
is the best. Come see, this is the best time of day, the whole day. Come on. And they swim, they're like, come here, and swim you over to the alcove where the flower is. And there's this like crack, like where it faces east. And as the sun starts to rise, like the sun comes through the crack, like into the alcove, and it is like super bright. And they're like, I know, right?
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I know.
So this was just an everyday view?
This is what happens. I mean, not out like the sun moves around, so not all the time, but you know, like over the course of the year. But yeah.
Wow. That's beautiful. I am sorry that you've had to look at it alone for so long.
Me too, but I'm not totally alone because I have little Snippy. And I forgot, I was so excited yesterday with everything, I forgot to show you little Snippy. And they're like, come here, little Snippy. And the most enormous hermit crab you have ever seen comes out from underneath where the flower is sort of like resting on top of a little cave. And it's wearing a French horn.
Oh, hello, little Snippy. It's nice to meet you.
I mean, it's not really like, I mean, he was a lot littler when I named him, but
I have Bubbles back.
right. And so
back
that's
in my
why I
cave.
thought you might want to meet little Snippy. And like, if you came here, maybe Bubbles and little Snippy could hang out in this little cave here thing. But I mean, whatever. But little Snippy has been my buddy and like helped me take care of the flower and everything. That's why. Oh, I wanted to. I wanted to give you something. You're going to find Lito's family today, right?
Yeah.
Or something.
Something.
Well,
Yeah.
So Rivulet, Rivulet is like another friend who's kind of the same, like they budded at the same time as me, and their family sort of, their life circle kind of like took care of me and looked after me a little bit. And they're like dying to meet you. And I'm like, just back up. And so they found a raft. You have to give Rivulet jobs. So they found a raft for your friends since they can't swim very well.
Oh, that's gonna be super. That's gonna be really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, and I have these for you to give them, these little shells, and I put them on, like they can't wear them the right way, so I put them on strings, because I'm not gonna come with you, because it's not my business. So I'm gonna stay here, and when you're done, you're gonna come back.
Honestly and sincerely, thank you, Una.
I'm gonna be totally cool the whole time, and I am not gonna dissolve into a quivering puddle. I'm gonna be great. I'm gonna be fine. But anyway, I thought, so here, like, if you're a life circle, you sometimes will have the same decoration, and since they can't do it right, I put them on these strings because I thought maybe you guys would want to do that, so that everybody would know that they were important to you. And I made one for Bubbles too, and I don't know if Bubbles will wear it or not, but well, Sippy wears one, so like that matches me. That's not the same. Yeah. But you should go soon, and then you could come back or whatever. It's fine.
You're right that I do need to go, and I really, you've done a lot. You've been really busy in the rivulets too. I should introduce myself. I can't thank you enough, but I can. And like the rock will kind of shift down, and like I'll just let you hold on to this. I've got to come back to get it, right?
Yeah, that'd be great. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Thank you. I'm gonna do something with Rivulet today, and I'm fine. And I have to sing to the flower, and I want you to help Beckney. I mean, you have to push the raft across.
Yeah.
I bet they're terrible at sailing. I mean, the
They
goblins are
don't-
terrible at sailing, and they've been doing it their whole lives, you know?
They don't really understand how like cohesion works and hydrophobic surfaces. It's fine. It's just not. I just don't think they can really. They just don't really get it.
I just feel like if I were around them all the time, I mean, how are you not afraid they're going to drown every second? They don't even breathe water.
They almost did a few times. Like not like last week. Like a few times last week they almost did.
Okay. Well, you can't let them die because you're going to be fine. But don't worry, I'm going to take really good care of your rock, and I want you to give these to them. And I'll see you when you get back.
Yeah, I will see you when we get back. I will see you then. And Finn will just kind of like awkwardly like just shift, moving slowly further away.
Right, and I think Una like takes a really deep breath and is like, okay, and like goes over and sort of like waves up on top of the flower and is like sort of singing to the flower. And the singing is very beautiful, and is that it's in that tone that that like the rest of your family can't really hear.
Mm.
Right?
Like that almost like whale song.
Yeah, or like when an elephant is talking to another elephant really far away and they make that sound that like we can't hear, but apparently elephants can. I mean, that's what they tell us. I can't hear it. But yeah, it's right. It's sort of like that. And I think that we had established this, and I might be wrong, but I think we had established that like you also can sing like that, but you stopped because nobody could hear you.
Yep.
And Wisteria is the one who sings.
Right. Yeah. So I couldn't do that. Yeah.
So the sun is like breaking over the edge of the lake on the east side of the lake, and it is really pretty there, and it's relatively still. And when you pop up, there is like a raft sort of right by where everyone is sleeping, and I think everybody's probably still asleep, right? From the party the night before. Is there anyone who thinks they would be awake at the butt crack of dawn?
Definitely not Callie.
Right. So there's a little raft. I sort of think of it as like a stereotypical like cartoony raft with like a little, maybe there's even like a little square sail that somebody tied up on shore, rivulet. And so what do you do? Fen, you're the only one who's awake right now. And you can see a very large pile of foxes and a few stray body parts of your friends, like sticking out from the pile.
I think that Finn is going to just take. I think maybe since Finn doesn't really sleep, I think maybe Finn saw Sage like go do what Sage had to do. It like maybe there was a quick like look, and I think that maybe Sage left some teas or something for everybody, because that seems like a Sage thing to do, to know that everybody was going to be up late and that they would need something to help them start the day.
Sure.
And
right. So I think Sage is doing that and sort of gives you the eye and has like a note that they sort of wave to you so that they don't wake everybody up, and puts it in with all that like next to the teas and sort of sneaks off.
I think, no need to investigate that at that point. And then like later in the morning around now, Finn will just, doing weird water things, we'll make sure that there is pure water available, that we're not going to question how we know this, available, and is just going to like, kind of do the temperature thing and just warm the water up enough to like really softly bring the tea flavor out, and just kind of keep it there. Just, the foxes might smell it and wake up, or, folks might have it when they wake up in an hour or two, and it'll be nice and pleasant.
Yeah, Pouncing whispers in your ear, Veshna. Veshna.
Yep. Yeah. Yes. What do you?
The water thing is alive. The water person is making tea.
Good. Awesome.
Like right there.
Cool. Thank
Get up. You have to get up. Like, come on. Like, they're right there. They're like 5 feet away.
Yeah. They've been 5 feet away for like most of my life. Like, yeah, they're.
You should walk over there then, or go further away, because that's an awkward distance. That's a good place to pounce, though.
Yeah.
Just saying.
We're gonna have to go over optimal pouncing distance, and also some situational pouncing rules that I don't know if we really covered on our way back from the lake where we almost died. But
everybody get up! It's time to practice pouncing! And everybody starts waking up, and they're like, and they're all like, whoa! All the foxes are super into it. And they run over and look at Finn. And some
Veshna,
of their heads turn into human heads as they sort of like fall over and they're like, hi!
Veshna is going to point to the edge of like, I imagine where like the grass gets taller. Be like, all right, first person who can bring me 4 mice gets a prize.
Yay! And everybody's sort of running away. And Patrick's like, hey, Pyron!
What?
First person to get 4 mice gets a prize. Come on.
Mice? Why would you want mice?
So you can eat them for breakfast? Come on.
Are there not any bugs around here?
There's probably bugs, but they don't count for the competition.
I don't
Seems
want
like a
to
waste
eat
of
mice.
time to me. Hey.
Okay, well, we'll find more bugs for me, I guess.
Hey, Beckney. Hey, Lido. It's time to get up. Your water friend's here and making tea, and we're in a competition. You gotta help Lido. Lido's too little to pounce on their own.
Stop yelling.
And I think at this point, because you can understand her, Pouncing's head is a human head. So you wake up and there's this like human head
Just
right
a
there.
human
like,
head followed by a fox body, like, and Beckney just kind of like rolls over, thinking it's like they're half asleep.
Pouncing is definitely like gives you a big lick on the face. It's like, good morning.
With the human head?
Yes.
Somehow worse. Somehow
that's
worse.
So much worse. And then they're like, ugh, puh, this is not the same.
No.
Ugh.
I'm telling you.
I think Callie, if you've ever seen A Knight's Tale, there's this scene where Alan Tudyk's character like sits up suddenly, yells "tansy cakes," and then mutters and falls back asleep. It's like that, but instead she just sits up, like candy fruit. Goes right back to sleep.
I think that Veshna is going to go over to the tea and say, sort of, she's not much of a morning person. She's gonna say, Sage went somewhere, huh?
Yeah, they did. I don't really know where, but it's Sage, so they got a good reason. I'm sure they'll be back.
And they left a note.
And they did leave this note that was conveniently with this tea that I haven't read yet because I don't have eyes and I can feel the words through the ink, but I would ruin the paper. So you could take a look at this if you wanted, Veshna.
Veshna sort of stares at them for just a moment and looks down at the note and says, sure, and picks it up. What does
And
it...
note says, and Hannah left this for me. So this is actually Sage's note to all of you, which is, good morning, everyone. Don't panic. Satriel invited me to do some special training. I'll be back soon. Good luck today. Please try not to get yourself killed or kill anyone else. And also, we have to talk about your parents when I'm back. Hugs, Sage.
Great. Cool. Awesome. So Sage is going to be gone for today. Satriel wants to train them in something that is probably very cool and awesome. And so we're going to go whenever is a good time to go. And Veshna sort of is going to like put the note down, get her tea, and we're at the Fawn's camp, yeah?
So you are on the beach.
The lake.
And so I'm imagining in my mind there's sort of like a beach where there was a fire, right? And you're all sort of just parked by the fire. And the different fawns, some of them have gotten up, some of them haven't. And they're like back in the woods a little bit. So, it's got that like day after a big rager vibe.
Yeah, I think that she's kind of sitting and just kind of sitting and seeing whatever, just whatever is going to be is going to be.
I think Beckney has been scrounging around for grubs to dip in their tea, because they're not really big on tea, but they do like the way the bugs taste when they're dipped in it.
Pouncing and the rest of them come over and they're like, hey, we didn't find very many mice yet, but we found your other friend in a tree. And we can't wake her up. But not because she's dead, but because she's tired. So you should wake her up because she's too high up to lick. I tried licking your other friend with my human head, but it was kind of weird. So I'm only going to do that with my fox head now.
Yep, we talked about that. Remember, we talked about human head greetings and fox head greetings. Remember?
I just forgot. It's going to take me a while to unlearn it.
Okay, I told you I will make those copies in my notebook when we have a moment.
Dude, should I kiss them instead? That's
Nope.
better, right?
Worse, actually worse.
Is kissing worse than licking?
When you've lived most of your life as an animal, yeah, actually.
Okay.
Turns out. We have
so much. We have a lot to learn.
Yeah, there's a flowchart situation. I have it back.
None of us have learned to read yet. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Yep. It's going to make the flowcharts, and in retrospect, it is going to make the flowcharts a lot easier to understand for you.
Well, you should go wake up your friend then, or we could all maybe.
Oh, this is a thing. No. Somebody else should go wake up.
Is your
Callie.
nose okay? All right.
I have woken up Callie from a dead slumber many a time during our friendship, and yep. Nope.
Yeah, no, that's smart decision on Veshna's part.
Hey, water person. Your friend's asleep, and you probably need to wake them up, and I found them, so I should get the prize. Don't you think your friend is bigger and better than 4 mice?
Well, that depends. For breakfast, no. Well, I assume. I don't know. Different kind of different things. But if you were looking for someone to help you move, yeah, 100%, yeah.
Well, you have to help your friend move because she won't get up.
While this is happening, Veshna just gets up and goes and walks in the direction of Callie.
What's Pyron doing? Is Pyron foraging?
Yeah, I think Pyron is foraging, not for mice, because that's gross. He's looking for some bugs with the optimal, the more legs, the better. I think has been his current policy on bugs.
Definitely less gross. So I'm imagining in my mind, Beckney and Lido are by the fire eating bugs and tea, and Pyron is sort of rummaging around with maybe lots of little foxes bouncing off of him and trying to bring him assorted things that are maybe not bugs. And some of them are bugs. Some of them are sticks. It's rocks. I mean, who knows? They're just trying to be helpful. And
I think his hand, I'm trying to remember. I feel like he's maybe looking around for a bucket or a pail or something at this point to use as almost like a makeshift Halloween bucket to hold these bugs.
So Pouncing's gonna bring you the hat.
The official hat.
The official hat.
Yeah.
It's been fished out of the water. Is where it fell in.
Yeah, I'll fill up the hat then.
I think, and now that the foxes have seen that fill the hat is the game, many of them are going to start trying to help fill the hat.
I think I'm swatting away mice that they keep bringing over. I'm no mice in the hat. You keep your own mice.
So, Jennifer, I see. Paint me a word picture. What's happening?
So I think that Veshna, having done this before, goes to the tree where Callie is, and I think she kind of looks around, and I think she sees like a fruit tree, and she kind of like looks at the different ripeness of fruit, and she's looking for one that is edible but not too hard, but not like to the point where it's going to be texturally unpleasant. And she is going to sort of like test it, and you see her like a pitcher on a pitcher's mound. She kind of like is like making like a little like a little dirt spot for herself, and you see her kind of winding up and like mock throwing, and she shouts up to the tree, a common breakfast call, because Callie and Veshta have done every summer together since like basically since they've existed. And been conscious of the fact that they're friends and not just friends because like they happen to be the same age. And so the common way to wake Callie up is of course not with force, but with food. And so she's going to kind of wind up and like she kind of licks and tests the wind and adjusts her stance. And it's very like, if any of you remember when Tony Pettit used to play for the New York Yankees, he had this very ballet like wind up for pitching. Like it was very like it was like an anime or like a Sailor Moon transformation type of situation, but he was a pitcher. And she's gonna sort of wind up, and as she winds up, she screams bacon and tosses the fruit up to Callie, expecting of course that they will scream eggs and catch it and eat it.
They absolutely do that. Like, it's not even like a conscious thought. They just spring up from the branch, see the fruit coming, and just grab it and shout out, "Eggs! Where's the eggs?" Fruit. What's up?
I would like Veshna to roll a nimbleness to see how easy this is.
I mean, I have to open my character sheet. Ugh. What is this? Being prepared? Ugh. Like professionals? Oh man. Veshna Brevik, do I have any assets that help me?
Ooh.
Oh no, I thought I got a 27. I was really excited. I did not. Way down. I got a 10.
Yeah, I think this throw is way short. So as Callie goes to reach for it, I think it will be really easy to overbalance and fall. I don't know if you're awake enough to fly or not. But why don't you roll a nimbleness and we'll see how well you catch this very poor shot.
Alrighty. 15.
Okay, so either you can either miss it, or you can catch it and fall out of the tree. Which one do you think?
Well, food's clearly the higher priority over bodily safety for Callie, so she'll catch it and fall.
So Jennifer, I see. How about one more nimbleness check to see if you get out of the way?
Alrighty, nimbleness that I'm super good at. That's a 9.
So I love this idea that maybe like you throw it, you're like, bacon, and you throw it, and it's like way either over or short, and Callie stands up, and you have kept running. So to like sort of get out of the way of whatever Callie sends back to you, but when Callie goes to reach for it and overbalances, she ends up falling directly on you.
Yeah, I think she's looking up and sort of it's the moment of horror of, oh my god, it always worked, it never worked, ah! And I feel like there's a part of like a moment as she sort of sees Callie begin to fall where she is like, I have submitted to my fate. As
I
that
think
moment
from Callie's end, it's definitely like grabbing the fruit and it's just like, hey! As she's falling.
And I think all the little foxes like prick their ears up and they're like, oh, the game is Pile? And run over to like jumping on you guys like, yeah!
What did we with the nope, no licking, nope.
I think Callie's treating them all like it's just like a pack of dogs and is just like doing like a very gentle headlock, you know, with a couple of them and still eating the fruit with one hand while she's doing all of this and just
it.
laughing. Yeah.
So I don't think that, well, I mean, they've seen everybody saw the raft, but I wonder, Beckney, do you, like, once everyone's awake, sort of what happens next? Like, how do we plan for the assault on the Goblin Town
Did we
or whatever?
Did we actually plan the night before that we were going to go to this Goblin Village? Was that part of our planning, or is this just kind of a like we need to move forward? So,
I would like to say I honestly can't remember. So, I'd like to say that you, at least some of you knew there was a goblin. The nearest goblin place was across the.
Yeah, because
it's across the lake, and
that.
so I think we can kind of retcon that sometime during the festivities, all
Sure.
that information was shared.
Okay. I think Beckney's really hesitant. I think they're kind of like really taking their time with the bugs and like kind of teaching Lido how to dip them properly to make sure they still wriggle, you know, obviously while you're eating them. So I think they're really stretching the morning out because A, they don't want to go on the water again. They remember what happened last, like every time. And also they don't know what's going to happen in the Goblin Village, but they know something has to happen. So they're kind of hoping someone else takes the lead.
So, Pyron, why don't you roll a gut check? Sort of see if you notice this.
Okay. Getting into my character sheet. I don't suppose I could swing empathy, could I?
Sure, I don't care.
Oh, what? So empathetic.
Excellent.
Critically empathetic.
With the empathy that only a sibling can really understand for another sibling, you see that
It's
your
all about the
sibling
speed.
needs
It's
you.
all about the speed of the bugs being eaten.
Yeah.
Like the breakfast rate has different like markers for how Beckney is feeling. Oh. Since we decided we talked about this, is it just our group going, or is this like a whole freaking field trip
That's a
to
really
the
good
Goblin
question.
Village now? How many fawn people and fox people are coming with us?
So, the fawns are going about their business.
Okay.
They are not part of this, and the foxes will probably do what you tell them, but maybe not. It's hard to
Okay.
know. I don't know that there's a plan unless you want to establish that you did, because this was a party, but just this idea that like, hey, tomorrow we're gonna go kick some butt,
Yeah.
or
And
whatever.
So the reason I asked is because Pyron kind of clocking that Beckney's not, spearheading this, that is Beckney's kind of taking a back seat, is gonna go into what's like tour guide mode almost, or like class chaperone mode, and like get some big stick, like the flag that like tour groups lead with, and just like start get. All right, everybody, gather up. We gotta get ready to go on the raft. We're taking a boat trip. Get all your snacks. Get extra snacks. Finish up with the pouncing and the snacks, and get on this wood that we're not gonna drown on. It's totally safe.
There's a call from a little bit further back from Callie, just going, "Wait, there's snacks? I heard there's snacks. What kind of snacks?"
The bug and mouse kind so far. I don't know if they're Cali snacks.
Oh, no. All right. Well, I'll still get on the
Sorry.
raft. It's fine.
Beckney slowly gets to their feet, and they're definitely trying to avoid eye contact with Pyron, but they do it like a gentle like, thanks. And they kind of just trudging over to the boat.
I think Vashna picks up some like rolls and like a sort of festive like picnic charcuterie accoutrements that are sort of, I imagine, around in the various little storehouses, and sort of packs it away.
So
And,
this. Sorry,
yeah.
I didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
I was gonna ask this raft. Tell us about this raft. Is it just like a plank of plywood?
So the raft is. Well, I'm gonna roll for raft. I'm just gonna roll and see how the raft is. It's in the middle. It's exactly average. It is the most average raft you've ever seen. It's like a bunch of logs tied together with some other logs on top of it. It's a big square. It has a square kind of thing, like, and sail thing, but primarily it would probably go along faster under Fen power.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Unless some of you have some secret sailing knowledge that I am not aware of, which is fine. So yeah, I mean, it looks seaworthy. You're not going to win any races with it, but it looks just like any old average raft.
Okay. I guess that was, I was trying to figure out how like basic, or like, this isn't like some glamping raft or something. It's not like a yacht or anything like that.
No, it's a square raft.
Yeah. Okay. Because I think Pyron, again, to kind of make this seem less make this seem less to everyone like we're doing this trip for Beckney, is like organizing this as like a field trip at this point. And separating Fox people and us out into different corners of the raft, and introducing the concept of icebreakers to the Fox people.
Are you so you're taking the foxes with you?
I mean, I think so. He's gathering up anybody that'll come. He will leave it up to them.
Okay. Yeah, I think so. Pouncing and a few of the other foxes will come for the adventure. Some of the rest of them are still looking for mice. So. So
Just so we know, do we know like where across the lake this supposed goblin village is? Did we get like a general
like
idea of where that
directly
is?
across.
Okay.
You can't see it from where you are, but you've been told the lake is much longer than it is, or wider than it is tall. So it's not that far away.
I think Beckney kind of pulls Pyron to the side when there's a moment, and just kind of puts their hand on his shoulder, like, I don't know what's gonna happen over there, but I might get mad. And if I do, just maybe pull me back if I seem like I'm going too much. I probably will.
All right. Do we, just so I know, what do we think is too much? Because like some mad is good. Like
Do you remember when Uncle Toots put mice in our bed?
Oh no! Yes.
I got really mad at him.
Mhm. More mad than that, madder than that.
Kind of like that. You're smart. You'll
Okay.
figure it out.
Okay, yeah.
Just don't let me, like really hurt anybody.
Oh no, of course not.
Thanks.
Yeah. No, it's like I said, I will corral the crowd, and you tell me, just let me know what else we can do or when we want to peace out, and I will event organize us away.
Okay, everybody, Pyron's gonna lead us away, and they'll just kind of like do like a ta-da! Look, he's here. It's like he hasn't been here the whole time, and they'll just kind of show Pyron off for a moment.
I think to emphasize that moment. I don't know what material I would have found on the ground here to make it, but I think I've made some sort of captain's hat. Despite the fact that I will not be propelling this raft at all myself.
The captain doesn't row the boat.
It's the ceremonial hat. He's now in its third iteration as captain's hat, I think. I think maybe there's like some sort of starfish or like shell that you can just kind of paste to the front of it.
I keep looking for all of these different things and then just realizing that we had the greatest gift of all with the hat.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Veshna, seeing that we're a little bit like that we're a lot for Fen to power, is going to sort of take the foxes and kind of snap her fingers and say, all right, remember propeller formation. And I think the foxes get in and they sort of it's the most coordinated they've ever been. It's like a Viking longship. It's like they're moving us along in the water along with Fen to kind of give us a little bit of speed.
Wait, what? Okay. Are they're throwing themselves bodily forward, or is like each one have one little paw, like rowing
in the water, and they're like doing some synchronized kicking side to keep.
Okay, yeah. So there's some synchronized kicking in the back, but can there also please be a few on the side who just have like one set of paws in on each side?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they have
Like their oars.
It's stabilization. It's just stabilization. It's common sense. It's we have to do. It's physics.
One of them is actually on top of the hat with they have pulled out from somewhere a bullhorn, and they are like a crew caller going.
It's definitely pouncing. And I think pouncing just has like the lower half of their face turned into a human face now, and is like, go.
Why does this keep getting worse?
Every time it's consistently. It's consistently worse in every iteration.
Excuse me for a second. I have a bonus rabbit. Hello, bonus rabbit.
The
Good
bonus
night.
rabbit.
Good night, son.
Good night.
Good night,
Mother.
bonus rabbit. Goodbye.
Bonus rabbit.
We are one rabbit down, alas, from the last time you met us. So, we are dealing with all new rabbit politics, which turn out, if you don't know, rabbits are much more Watership down than they are Peter Rabbit. So, it's a lot of politics. But back to the matter at hand. I feel like what is Fen doing, and what are Lido and Beckney doing, and Callie? Like, I feel like, is Callie interested in helping with any of this, or what is Callie? Yeah, let's start with Callie. What's Callie up to?
I'm stealing this trope from another character, but I think it makes sense for Callie, and it's a lot of fun. I think she has a lot of trouble with vehicular transportation. So, like, she's probably really motion sick from being on the boat.
Okay.
She could swim on her own, or fly, or walk, and she's totally fine. But you put her on like a carriage or a boat or anything like that, and she's just like immediately motion sick.
Do you
So
think?
she's probably like just groaning, laying down on the raft.
But she doesn't have the sense to get off and fly.
She's not smart.
I'm not
Too sick-
fit.
too sick to
I
fly.
love this. I love this solution that like we can know and she does not know. It's It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
I mean, if anybody suggests it, she'll be like, "Oh my god, that's such a good idea," but she's
So
not going to
good.
think about it herself. So yeah, that's what she's currently doing. Anyone's welcome to be like, you could just fly or get out and push.
That'd be too easy though.
And what about what's Fen doing? Like, how is Fen powering this boat?
Finn is just has slid right underneath the boat and is like kind of closer to the to like the back end of it, and I think just kind of like they just start doing the rolling wave thing that they've done so often, and just almost like a tank's tread underneath it, just kind of move it along forward. And I think that Finn maybe, I don't know if anyone would notice it, but I think the raft is kind of every so often like buzzing, just like a small vibration every so often, as Finn kind of like absentmindedly like hums to themselves for the first time in a while, just kind of getting used to what they sound like again. And I think maybe they get maybe a little squeamish about it after a certain point and kind of stop. And they're not going recklessly, but they are trying to show off just a little bit.
So I love the idea that when Fen is doing a like particularly strong push, maybe the back of the raft is lifted up a little, so some of the little tiny foxlights are just going in the air. And I just want to put like a really clear mind picture for everyone that we've got this square raft with a little sail that's not really doing anything. The back half's lifted up a little bit with these little foxes going like this. You've got Pirate standing there with a bowl on his head and a mostly fox on there with just a weird human mouth. We've got Callie in the center, like just so queasy. What are Becky and Lito doing?
Beckney's keeping an eye on the shore, and they're trying to keep Leto like distracted, maybe like focusing on the raft a little bit, but their eyes are fixed on the shore. They're looking for any sign of goblins.
And as you go along, you start to see, like, I think you see a boat, a small boat out there. And I think the occupant of the boat, who is a goblin, is just sort of looking at you as you go by, and they have a fishing net in their hand, but they're just sort of like, huh. As the self-propelled raft, self-propelled slash, fox-propelled raft goes a different direction than the wind towards the shoreline, and is like, and after some time,
Beckney's just gonna do like a little wave, like everything's normal, like this happens every day.
and they're just like,
Like we're a parade float.
Yeah, exactly.
and
Other
then-
than here, it's a national holiday.
well, and I think they're just kind of like from a distance, sort of automatically wave back. but is still making that really strange expression, like what is going on? So as you get closer, so this takes some time. And is there anything, Veshna, what are you doing?
I think Veshna at this moment is very focused on keeping the foxes focused and keeping the foxes from interfering with Fen. And so there's a lot of like Veshna sort of in a very comfortable place of like cruise ship directing. And I think there's like a little bit of like low level performance magic. Like maybe there's like a jaunty sea tune that helps keep the like the order, right? Like a very like I am the Anak of the sea. It's very that letting everyone sort of keep going the right way. And it also is, I think it's good for Vesh to sort of keep her mind on something that she feels very capable of doing. Cause I think there's also, she has a little bit of anxiety because like, she's never really seen, like she's seen Beckney upset, but I think Veshna's smart enough to know that this is like a different kind of upset that like she could sort of observe as a friend, but can't like this train is rolling, and the only thing she can do is hope that she holds on and, you know, is there to pick up any pieces. So I think that there's also some I'm doing the thing I know how to do anxiety.
So I love this picture, and this happens for quite some time, I think. And eventually, though, you do start to see the other shore come into view. And do you think, so I feel like you have a couple options here. Would you want to have some kind of conversation with each other before you go? Or are you going to just kind of go full bore into the marina area?
I've got a thing, but I definitely want to hold off on that until other people have done their stuff, because it might give a natural end to their conversation.
Okay.
Okay, great.
I'm into that. Beckney definitely, like, before they hit shore, just does a quick, like, huddle up kind of thing with everyone. Like, everyone, can I get everyone's attention, please?
What?
When we get in there, can you all let me do the talking? Like, if you need to say something, say it, but I think this will be... I think they might listen to me the most. And it's clear that Beckney isn't saying what they really want to say, but you can tell, like, they're being very bold about their lie, but they're hoping you don't call them on it.
Beckney, I think that you are going to do a great job. And we're here for whatever you need. And, you know, whatever that is. But you're going to be great. And
thanks, Veshna.
I agree. That will be wonderful. You're gonna be awesome, says the mostly fox from on top of Pyron's head. I won't say anything. And I think they're gonna drop the bullhorn, and like mouth's gonna turn back into a fox mouth.
That's never not going to be both cool and creepy.
That's one of the first things that Beckney has seen clearly, isn't it?
One of the first, like, yeah, one of the first real kind of, like, magic things.
This is so nightmare that we have visited upon our friend. Hey, here's 2020.
I mean, again, it is cool. It's also creepy. It's still got that new creepiness smell.
Well,
yeah, I don't know if anyone had anything else to...
Yeah, if nobody has got anything else, I think while we are on that kind of, like, brief expanse where, like, neither shore is really visible, Finn is used to the river, and the river is fast, but not particularly narrow, and there's rocks and things, and it's kind of treacherous. never really had like open space before. And I think for like a little bit, like until the land is visible, Finn is gonna gun it. Like partially out of like kind of in their head, I think maybe they could feel like Callie just kind of like shifting around uneasily, and hopefully they don't have any additional things in them that they didn't when we started. And yeah, no, Finn is going to like if anyone asks, it's just to so we can get off the water and folks can start to feeling better. This is never really been able to run before, so gonna try to run now.
Yeah, and so you come over the horizon and you see like a very small fishing town, right? It has like one main pier, and you can see that there's like maybe a little, like a shed, like a long shed that has items in it that's close to the shoreline. And you can see a few small houses. Then you can see some goblins come into view. You can see some small goblins that are playing and some adult goblins that are moving around, doing whatever they're doing. And you approach the shore. And I think this is probably a good place to take a break. And when we come back, we'll see what happens.
Awesome. We'll be back in 15 minutes, so go grab snacks and hydrate and all that good stuff, and then we'll be right back. All right, we are back.
So, when we last left you a few minutes ago, you were approaching the marina. Why doesn't Beckney, with your monocle, why don't you do a sight roll?
Certainly. So that's, don't worry about the minus in here. I'm gonna change that super quick actually, because it's gonna mess things up. We'll make that a minus that. That's better. And that's still garbage. Look at that.
Okay.
There's too many things on the shore. I can't focus. It's just
Okay,
like, oh my
fair
god.
enough.
I can see all the grains on the beach.
It's so hard to sort of focus in. There is, after looking out at the water and it being relatively quiet, and maybe trying really hard not to see the weird partial human fox, it is really hard to focus in. There's a lot of colors, there's a lot of movement. Somebody else want to give it a go, or do gut feeling?
I can try to take a look. I feel like I should do this with disadvantage though, because of
Right.
Callie's current state. A 23.
Okay. So I see that Veshna rolled 2, and maybe Veshna, you are also sort of really trying to get all the like foxes to stop paddling, maybe,
I think,
and are not really able to see much.
yeah, I think Veshna is very focused on drawing keeping Beckney as sort of the focus. So Veshna's overcompensating by looking out across the lake and wondering.
Okay, I love that.
With the village.
So Callie, what you notice, I think, with your nausea, I think the thing that you probably focus on really well is the pier. Right? Like,
Yeah.
this is the place we're going to land. And what you notice, that it is very much, I think, compared to so there's probably a pier at the public beach in Highland Falls, and I think there's some sort of like pier and dock, and they are sort of cute, and there might be like little changing pavilions there and stuff like that. And compared to that, this is very utilitarian. It's like it's smallish because the people who use it are mostly goblins, so it's goblin sized.
Okay.
So it's a little small for you, but I think you notice it seems well constructed, but it is not fancy the way that things that are in Highland Falls.
Okay. Yeah.
Highland Falls isn't like fancy. It's not like made out of ivory and like jasper or whatever, but it's just like somebody on the, Highland Falls Recreational Committee made sure that the paint on the dock matched the white and striped changing things. You know what I mean?
That
Yeah.
feels like it would fall under the league's authority, right?
Mhm.
Perhaps. The league and
They may
maybe
have
the
to
league
maintain it.
sponsored it. Right? I think there's a sign, a hand embroidered sign that says like thank you to our gold tier sponsor.
That was the League of Other Children Who Are Not Your Friends. Is that what it was?
Yes.
So yeah, Callie will point it out and be like, "There's land. Pier. It's good. Go that thing. Go that way, please. Fast."
I heard Pierre, not Pierre.
It's Pierre. He's waiting on the pier.
He's there.
gonna-
He's always
he's
right
gonna
there.
pull-
He is,
pull
and
us in.
he's so surprised when he sees you because he's just fishing off the end of the pier, and he's like, huh. He's Pierre, the pier attendant, and he helps boats dock. And so as you come in, Pierre's like, all right, well, throw over your rope or something hello.
Do we have a rope on this boat?
Absolutely not.
All right.
Hello? Who's the captain of this ship?
Beckney is absolutely throwing Pyron under the bus on this one. He's got the hat and everything.
Yeah, he was stepping up just like, I'm the captain.
Great. How can I help you dock your boat? Are you here are you here to buy some goods?
Now I am looking to Beckney.
More like, we're... Can I speak to your manager?
Yeah, I mean, that's fine, but if you don't give me something to, like, how are you gonna dock?
Would a fox help? We've got a lot of those.
Absolutely not.
I think as this not argument, but this like conversation is going on, since we're so close to shore, Callie is going to fly off of the raft onto the pier and go take care of the fact that she's, gonna throw up. Completely missing the fact that she just flew off of the raft onto the shore, like
Well,
she
that
could have
was
done all along.
surprising. Yeah. All right. Yep. Okay. Can I help you in some way? I have been the pier attendant here for many years, and I've never quite seen such a motley crew. I mean, usually we just have goblins and riverbound here.
I think we're doing good. Do you need help? Can we help you? Kind of
Help me understand what's happening here, because I can't dock you. Do you want a rope?
I mean, if you're just giving ropes away, I guess. Yeah.
Well, you could borrow it so that you can dock. My job is to get people off and on the dock.
Mm-hmm.
It is literally my only purpose in life and this story. Help me, help you. Help me, help you.
Can we borrow a rope?
Yes. And Pierre's very pleased to be back on, familiar territory. It's be sure to tie it off with a double square hitch knot. That's the best kind of knot for boats.
We don't have a horse though, so we can't tie it to the hitch.
Veshna just sort of takes the rope and puts it along in all of the foxes' mouths, so that they're all sort of holding on to each other, and just sort of lets it, and sort of ties it to that one of the
all your dogs are gonna have to stay here to keep your boat.
No, she just sort of, she starts talking, and then it's no, we were not supposed to talk. And then she sort of just ties it to one of the logs, looking very much, I imagine it's very much the way, in Young Frankenstein, Igor is very no. Yeah, it's very that, she doesn't really know what she's doing.
So I think at this point, Beckney realizes it's time to step up. And they grab Leto from where, I imagine maybe Leto is floating around the sail or something.
Yeah.
So they kind of grab them out of the air and just kind of do, hey, how's it going? It's time for business. And starts kind of moving towards the shore, as close as they can get to the pier without getting in the water, and then kind of hopping over. Or actually, you know what they'll do? They'll make a little gangplank, that's the word, out of the boat. They'll use their arm magic, and they'll try to make a gangplank to mount onto the pier.
There's no need for that. I would have helped you. There's no need. Don't waste it. Come on. Everybody off. Everybody off here. Let me take your hand. Everybody's gonna be safe on this pier. Y'all right there, hon? You need a mint? You need a little ginger? A little fantasy ginger there? Sweetie, I don't think there's much left in there.
Yes, to all the above, please. Thank you.
You know, well, you're here. If you go see Fendara, they'll give you some fantasy Dramamine, and that's gonna help a lot.
That sounds great.
Oh, that's all right. You'll get your sea legs eventually. And they walk over and he's like patting your back, sort of awkwardly, but very much smaller than you. It's like they're
That's
there.
really funny. And Callie just sort of like wobbly walks towards the rest of the group to catch back up.
I'm here because somebody left a baby. Well, two babies, but like one was a long time ago and one was like a bit ago.
Someone left a baby?
And Beckney kind of like bounces Lido for emphasis.
This is well beyond my capacity as a simple peer person. And greeter and fisher off the end of the pier. You'll need to head into town. Maybe you could see Ilion. I don't know. I mean, I haven't lost any babies lately.
Where can we find them?
If you just look up the hill a little bit, see that kind of bigger house? Yeah, go ask for Ilion. While you're there, where it's market day, usually the Riverman like to come and get some stuff. We have all sorts of stuff there. You can check that out. But move along, because I can't have you clogging up my pier. I'll take care of your boat while you're gone.
How crowded is this pier?
Yeah, right.
It is totally empty. There's like some other boats there and ships and like whatever. I don't know anything about boats. But nobody else is there, but just in case someone shows up. Pierre's entire destiny is connected to the success of this pier, so.
Yeah, so Beckney will just give a thumbs up and start kind of like, they'll look back at the group once, just as like a, you don't have to come with, but you can, sort of thing, like and they'll start heading up the hill to Ilion's place.
Can I roll gut feeling on Pierre?
Yes.
Thank you. I was suspicious too.
What?
I don't know why.
It's a 14.
So let me tell you about Pierre. Pierre is old. It's definitely old. And sort of weather worn in that way that like fishermen sometimes are, right? And is a goblin. And you haven't actually seen a lot of goblins. I mean, he looks kind of similar to Beckney in that they are the same, like, type of humanoid. But, but they don't look like a lot alike. They don't look, you're not like, that is definitely Beckney's dad, right?
No, I think Vesha is just more in that mode of like, this is my friend. And like, this is important to my friend. And so it's very much like when you have your friend who's been like single for a long time and they first introduce you to someone and you're like, it's like you go to dinner and it's just like a darkened conference table where everyone's wearing like a black robe and you're like, sit down, Patrick. Or no, sorry, that's actually Patrick. Sit down, Joseph, we have some questions for you. You know what I mean? It's like, the friends do that thing where it's like the crosshairs are lining up. And I feel like that's kind of what Vesha is doing, is it's like, who am I gonna shank when Beckney's not looking?
It's probably, you can't really tell, but it's probably not gonna be Pierre. It's as if Pierre had come out of thin air and was only there to help you with your boat.
How oddly specific.
How
That's
oddly
just
specific.
That just sort of gives Pierre one last kind of narrow-eyed look and then falls into step behind Beckney.
And
Very
Pierre
much
says,
like-
"Oh, hey, Fox girl, it seems you can get some sunglasses at the market. It seems like
Thanks.
you're having some glare off the water.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Doesn't even turn around. She just keeps following Beckney.
So, you start to go up the hill, and Pyron, you wanted to do a gut check. Why don't you do a gut check or like a seeing or something?
For the hill now and no,
What
no
do we
longer
notice
fear.
about
Okay.
this town?
Okay. God, I'm bad at so many things. This is one of them. 9.
You notice this hill is pretty steep. And maybe you are not in as good of shape as you thought you were.
This hill's so steep.
Because Beckney
Mike.
is setting a blazing pace up the hill, I would imagine.
Yeah, Beckney is definitely like, they're not slowing down. They're like mountain goating up.
Right.
Is like the whole town this hilly, or is it just like one central street? It's like
So it's one central street. I think what you notice about this town is that it's small. I think things that everybody would notice is there is sort of this one pier. There's a long sort of shed-like shed that has sort of a variety of things in it, like a little market that's facing towards the shoreline. Then you also notice that there's some buildings. They're all relatively small. Some of them look to almost be like carts that don't have wheels anymore. Like like Beckney has that sort of primeval memory or whatever of being like in a tinker's cart.
Yep.
So they're like that. It's like if somebody took the wheels off of one of those little like homes and made it and like just sort of set it up on like stilts or something.
Right.
And then there's some other sort of pretty simple homes.
Beckney's definitely got eyes for Ilion's place and not a lot of stuff around them. Like they're kind of like bouncing Lido to kind of keep the baby entertained so that they don't just like fly off. Because that would be more to answer than Beckney has time for. And yeah, they're just hoofing it. Occasionally they'll look back to make sure everyone's still, okay and not like snatched or something, but yeah.
So Pyron, when you're not huffing up the hill,
mhm.
I think one of the things you would notice as being the child of the mayor is there's very little in the way of public works here. Like everybody's got like fishing gear on their lawn, or like they're all very practical. There's no like lawns here. And like it's not like nobody made like potatoes and fruit trees along the road in case someone walked by, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's no tater way here. But I think you would have that sense of a lot of what the mayor does in their free time is like beautification and trying to make the place nice. And you, I think, definitely get the feeling like the mayor could do a lot of work here. And so I think the biggest house is a little further up the hill, and it's not big, but it is bigger than the other houses.
Is there anyone like milling around outside?
There are. What you notice is there's a lot of children. And like young sort of goblins, and there's a lot of older goblins. But there don't seem to be any sort of mid-30s goblins, right? There doesn't seem to be anyone in the like whatever is the 20 to like 40 range. Everybody's either kind of old and weathered looking, or everybody's very young. The other thing is that the children totally notice you, and you get the feeling they don't see a lot. They're especially interested in Veshna and Callie and Pyron, and they are pretty much completely not interested in Beckney and the baby and Fen.
this is all for you. I'm just gonna wait.
I think Veshta sort of like looks around, sees the sort of interest of like the kids, and is kind of like looking at them as they sort of are interested in her.
Yeah, I think one really brave one, like apparates out of existence and apparates, like reappears right next to you and touches you, and then apparates away and goes back to the yard. And as that happens, their like older siblings like, stop that, stop it, don't do that, and like pulls them into the house.
Beckney, I think that we might have just gotten an answer to some of our questions with the whole thing. Above the table, how old is Beckney?
It's a really good question. I did put an age down. 14.
Okay. So I think,
though I don't know what the relation is, like goblin ages to.
Right. We never really established what the lifespan of a goblin
but I
is.
think like the same age as Pyron is.
Yeah. So I think
Pangolin and goblin life cycles line up.
Yeah, they sync pretty well. It's every
it just
second.
makes it easy.
So I think Veshta's gonna kind of look around and like process around in her head for a second and realize that like there doesn't seem to be anyone here. We haven't seen anyone who would have a baby yet.
And that, I think, is really important. And also something that Veshna would be super good at noticing, because Veshna has grown up in a tavern. Veshna should be able to like scan a crowd and get a sense of what they are. Pretty easy, right? And what you see is old people and children.
Yeah. I definitely think that like, I don't think that she really kind of doesn't want to like layer on clues for like a mystery yet, because that's probably not what Beckney needs right now. But she's gonna kind of lean over to like Pyron and say like, Pyron, you know how Luann from school, how they were born when their parents were 20 years old, like and you know how they share a day with their mom, their birthday, same thing. So you always have like a whatever cake and then a cake with 14 years added onto it, right? At the bakery, it's always kind of a thing. Do you see anyone around here who like looks kind of like the goblin version of like Luann's mom? I mean, I know Luann's mom looks different, and that's fine, but like do you know what I mean? Like, because I see like a lot of kids and I see a lot of older people, and Steps to Respect does not cover goblin gestation cycles, but I feel like we may have I feel like maybe we're gonna have a lot of questions before we get any answers.
Quick question, because I don't remember. Who saw the goblin driving the? Okay, did you tell us anything about that?
I definitely did when I mentioned that maybe that was the reason why they were wearing all the scarves and things, because the flowers were poisonous.
And Fen saw that goblin outside of town. Do we know if it was an old goblin or a young goblin or middle-aged goblin?
You know what? That is a great thing for you to ask Fen.
Hey, Fen, I just assumed we were having like a whisper conversation.
We are
now,
absolutely
now
having
we're just
a platonic couples whisper fight.
Yeah.
It is a platonic. It's like, did you turn the stove off? I tell you every time we leave. Every time we leave. Yeah, it's that.
I think, yeah, I'd try and catch Fen's attention and like drag them into this whisper fight.
Vesha
Yeah.
stares directly ahead and becomes very preoccupied with walking.
Yeah, Finn, not monodirectional
Oh.
speech. It's fine.
Me and maybe Pyron is just getting that I'm getting. I did not realize I was doing that, or why.
What?
I only just realized why having all three of us in the conversation is not happening. It took me a minute.
Wonderful.
Hi.
Yeah. What's up?
So Veshna just noticed, came up with this really great observation that there's no like not old and not super young. There's no like middle age people in this town, or no goblins, and that's kind of weird that we haven't seen any. And we were wondering, I was wondering, the one that you saw with all the scarves. Did you see? I don't know how much the scarves were covering. Did they?
Most. So no, I don't. But I'm kind of looking for a spot to kind of like bring this up, but I know this is this is Beckney's journey, and this is what Beckney has to do. But we're, because Beckney cares, we're all kind of in this together, and the family is pretty strong. Really, it's at the end. It's everything's kind of about family. I think I heard a somebody with a cart saying that the other day. It was a few carts, and they seem pretty aggressive about it. But I got this from Una earlier, and now seems like a nice time to kind of share it with everybody. So just so we can, know we know that we're family, and everybody that looks at us can know that like we're family too. And we'll produce the necklaces from earlier.
When that conversation, at least to me, it seems like is that like a new level of like openness for Fen talk? It seems much less reserved Fen than before to me.
Yeah, it's
like
Finn.
that.
Finn is rapidly coming to terms with what the next couple of weeks are going to have to look like, and we're, it's gonna, like, decisions are going to have to be made really soon.
Oh, Fen, these are so cool. Thanks.
Oh, it wasn't me. It was Una. So I mean, we walked back. So you can just thank them too. They'll appreciate it, I'm sure.
For sure, but I mean, I'll thank them, and I'm thanking you too, because we got this because because of knowing you and being friends with you, and like you saw, family.
Yeah, we're all we're, regardless of what happens today or tomorrow, it doesn't change the fact that we are family. And just because if we learn something new, or find out that home isn't maybe what we thought it was, then I think we're still family. We're still together.
So while all this is going on, not to interject, Beckney has definitely left the group while they're all having this little like huddle chat. And is the front door open to this place?
Yes, it is.
Gotcha.
Sorry, I was unmuted and then I muted myself to talk.
Oh no, that's totally fine. Yeah, so Beckney, seeing that no one is paying them any mind, is like, well, I know what that's like. That's like home. No one pays you any mind. So they just kind of walk in like they own the place, and start calling out for Ilion.
Ilion!
Is Ilion here?
Ilion is here. Ilion kind of pokes their head out and says, "Hi. Can I help you?"
I was told to talk to you about someone leaving a couple of babies, but like one was like a while ago and one was recently.
Yeah, I'm not really in the market for babies, but I guess you could leave one with me.
No, this is someone. I need to talk to whoever left the babies.
No. You better come sit down. You better come sit down. Come sit down.
Can I roll a gut feeling on this?
Sure.
On this person?
Sure.
Is Ilion? Because Beckney definitely had no qualms about Pierre. They're just like, this guy just does his job, whatever. But Ilion immediately is like, this is like when Uncle Toots has something he doesn't want to talk about. 28.
Ilion is really confused. From Ilion's perspective, a complete stranger with a baby just came in and then offered them a baby and then unoffered the baby and is trying to talk to them in code. And they're like, this kid is really worried about something. Let's figure it out.
Okay, gotcha.
They're like, "Hi, I'm Ilion. You don't live here.
No.
Are you traveling through? Did you come through in a wagon?"
No. So I come from Highland Falls. Or at least that's where I grew up. And we walked here. Well, we took a boat on the last, but like we walked to that.
Okay.
Somebody left me when I was a baby.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Does that happen often? Is that a big thing?
Leaving babies?
And again, Beckney kind of juggles Leto for emphasis, like, one's an oddity, two is a pattern.
Are you looking to leave this baby? You're not looking to leave the baby.
I wanna find out who left the baby.
With you.
No, they left it in the middle of the woods.
You seem young to have a baby. Yeah, someone left this baby in the middle of the woods?
That's what I'm saying. And somebody left me in the middle of, like, a town when I was a baby.
And they just sort of look at you and they're trying to figure you out as much as you're trying to figure them out. And they're like, The children came to me and said that there were some strangers in town. You don't look that strange to me, but do you have friends here? Like, should we all gather around? It seems like you didn't come alone. Should we sort of gather together and have this conversation, or is this a you and me conversation?
I don't know if they know much more than I do.
And they sort of sigh and they say, I think, what's Leto doing?
That's a good question. I feel like Leto's bored with this adult conversation. And is probably either playing with Beckney's, sparse hair, or kind of just like hovering over the chair, just like,
okay,
maybe like handstand walking,
right,
but hovering.
And Ilion looks horrified.
Mm-hmm.
And is like, you can't just let them do that.
And Beckney looks up as like they didn't even realize what had happened. They were still like cradling, a Lido shaped like burden. They're like,
Oh, they just do that. You get used to it.
And Ilion's gonna come over and sort of like take Lido and sort of like give a little pat and be like, "Hi there. How you
Beckney's
doing,
hackles
buddy?"
are up.
Yeah,
Like they're tense in their chair.
right. And they're sort of giving a once over. You just let this baby use its magic all the time?
What am I supposed to do? Just leave it somewhere and let someone else deal with it? Tell it it's not supposed to use magic?
You're from Pylon Falls, right? You said you were.
That's where I
And-
grew up, yeah.
Is that in the bubble?
Yeah.
Do you have magic there?
No, that's the whole thing with the bubble.
Okay, that makes sense. Do you have magic?
And Beckney kind of like, if there's like something loose on the floor, like dirt or stones or whatever, they'll kind of just like pull it into a facsimile of an arm, just to show off. Like,
I did when we came out of the bubble, but I didn't have any growing up. Or I couldn't use it.
So how long have you been out of the bubble? And how long have you had this baby?
question for you: has it been like a week that we've been out of the bubble?
I
Has it
don't
been
care.
more?
Whatever you say will be right.
I think it's been like a week and some.
So like we've been gone from town like almost a week and some, and I think we had the baby for most of that. So like a week.
And Ilion's gonna sort of look out kind of peek out the window and see the sort of like whatever's going on with your friends and be like, "Is this who you came with?"
Yeah, they're my friends.
But they're not goblins.
Well, I didn't think I was either. I got raised with. There's a pangolin out there. That's my brother. I got raised with him.
And did they do magic?
Yeah, they all have magic.
But only in the last week.
Well, because we couldn't use it in the bubble, so we might have had it since we were babies, but
Beckney does gesture to kind of like the side of their face and the
Right.
nub where their arm is, like,
I've always had this, and
they're sort of like jiggling, Lido, and sort of can see that your hackles are up and sort of give you back the baby. Say, you can't. You can't let the baby use magic as much or as quickly as you can. You need to teach them. What's their name?
Lido.
You have to teach Lido not to use magic unless it's important.
Why?
Because it ages you. You don't know this, probably. I mean, if you're new to magic, but it ages you.
Like how quick?
Well, how old do you think I am?
did they look kind of like weathered, like old, like the rest of the older folk? Do you remember?
Oh, yes, I was nodding. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I did not see that. My brain was
I am
totally
nodding,
elsewhere.
yes, vehemently nodding.
Okay,
Yes. All the adults have that sort of weathered look.
yeah. Okay.
Like 60? Maybe like 55.
Thank you. That's very kind. So I'm 30.
Am I gonna look like that when I'm 30?
If you keep using your magic,
Neat.
Like, there's no free lunch.
Well, no, we ate before we came.
Great. But yeah,
Well,
I've
how
changed-
quick?
I've
How quick
changed
does
the
it age
subject,
you?
and I'm sorry. You're here because I don't think we have any missing babies in town. I mean, I can ask around, but I am sort of in charge around here, and I think they would tell me if the babies were missing. Some goblins do come through. You can see, like, across town, we have a bunch of carts where people have sort of set up to live here.
Lido didn't go missing. Somebody left them in the middle of the woods. Somebody left me in the middle of town. They didn't go missing. They were left.
That's not right. I'm sorry that happened. I don't know how to solve that problem. How many other goblins have you been around? I'm assuming not many, right?
Lido was the first goblin I ever saw.
Okay. Okay. Can I hug you? No. Can I give you a hug? No. Okay. You let me know if you need a hug. Many goblins like hugging, but
I like hugging, I just don't know you.
fair enough. Life is not easy.
And Beckney just gives like this really like
Right, as you know. And we live here on the edge of the river, and we live on the edge of the lake, and we do pretty well, but most goblins don't live in one place. They mostly move around. I mean, if we're sort of here by the grace of the riverbound a little bit, you know, we've kind of, they keep like the big creatures at bay, and we bring them things, and we fish, and we all get along. But most of the time, I mean, our people move around. I wish I had a better answer for you, but it's not easy. You look so young. How old are you? Like 10?
14, I think. I think that's how old Pyron is.
So, if you lived here, you'd be 10 or 8. I mean, no, you look like you're 10 or 8. Every time you use your magic, it comes at a cost, and it doesn't come right away. But you have to choose all the time. Like, are you gonna do this by hand? Are you gonna do it by magic?
But like last time we had a birthday party, there were 14 candles.
Perfect. I believe you. But
Does it work that way for everyone?
when you do magic, it eats up a little bit. Like, where does that energy come from? It comes from you, and then it's gone. And here we have to choose all the time. Like, when do I use it and when do I not use it? And it's hard. It's hard to live out here. Like, you get to live in this bubble where things, I mean, don't attack you, and you just do stuff. And maybe your family left you in the bubble on purpose. because they wanted to take care of you.
Just because we couldn't use magic doesn't mean it was the best place ever. I never felt at home in that place. Other than Pyron. Our dad barely paid attention to us unless he was teaching us how to take over when we were older. Veshna, like, never got along with the other kids. Fen, their whole family was awful. And Callie's family just sent her off to town, and Sage's probably the best out of the whole lot of us. And they just have one parent. It's not better, it's just different.
I've never been there. I don't know. I wouldn't know. I can see that you're hurt and I want to fix it, but I don't know how to fix it because
I don't think I wanted you to fix it. I think I just wanted to know.
Can I show you around? Can I show you the Goblin Town?
Can I go talk to my friends first?
Yeah. Come back when you're ready if you want. Everybody's welcome here.
And Beckney kind of like, they get up, they hold Lido, and they hold out a hand for a handshake.
Okay, and Ilion definitely does that, and they have that look of like, I don't like, this is like this sort of thing, like the hurricane of someone else, but they also have a lot of sympathy for this very young looking goblin because they're pegging you as so much younger than you are too. And they're like, I want to help this person that I completely don't know and have no relationship to. And so they're trying not to mess it up. And they have some wisdom. So they're like, yeah, come back when you want. And they just sort of like help escort you out, open the door for you and say, it's not locked. Come in whenever you want. If that's best, or you can play with other children if you'd like to do that, or whatever you'd like. You're welcome here. Say as long as you'd like. If I can do anything to help with this, I would like to, and I can put some feelers out to see if there's anybody knows anything.
I don't think I want to know. I don't think it matters as much as I thought it did.
Maybe when you're done, if you're friends and you would like to need a place to sit for a little bit or something to eat, you could come back, and I'm happy to do whatever I can to make you feel welcome here.
I'm gonna go talk to my friends. Thank you.
And Beckney just kind of awkwardly shuffles back to the group. Let's cut to the group real quick.
Yeah. So were you all still having your feelings talk? Like during this whole time, were you like, oh, look at our new necklaces. We're so happy. Where did Becky go? Or what were you doing?
I think that Veshna sort of has the necklace and like very kind of like put it on, but in that sort of way of like, super pumped about this. And I think that there is in Breath of the Wild when you find the Korok seeds and you have to like shoot the little floating things. I imagine that Veshna is in a series of staring contests with little goblins that keep apparating out of different places, and as soon as they like make eye contact with her, they like apparate someplace else. And I feel like that is sort of how she's entertaining herself, but she's absolutely bouncing her leg like really like anxiously.
So I love that. I'm gonna amend it a little to, in light of what you above the table know about the use of magic. I think after the first goblin apparated in and got like told off by their older sibling, they're like approaching you and running away. And maybe like after some period of time, one of like a very small boat, like a little tiny wooden boat, sort of sails across the street and bumps into your foot. And as soon as you look up, whoever it was who sent it with their magic is like, and does not make eye contact. But the children are definitely sort of looking at you and note they can kind of tell that you're also children. And they're doing that weird, we are all sort of teenagers dance of like, we're in different groups, but maybe we want to talk to each other, but we don't know how.
Hi. I'm Finn. And we're family visiting from inside the bubble. It's nice to meet you.
And I think the children sort of like push somebody forward who's like the brave one, who's kind of like, you know, like squares their shoulders and comes over and says, hey Riverbound, what is that, a pangolin?
Yeah. I don't know if he knows though. So
Does it talk?
Yeah, no, he definitely does. He says.
Is it your pet?
No.
I told you it wasn't their pet. How does it breathe underwater?
It doesn't.
It's dead.
He doesn't. Oh, only almost once.
Hey, your friend that has one eye, where did they go?
Where they needed to, I think. But they'll be back. Everything comes back to the ocean, so they'll be back.
Do you guys, do you all play marbles? Does your pangolin know how to play marbles? Hey, do you play marbles?
I think at this point, Pyronos kind of realized, like, wait, I've still got Beckney's shell to give, and is starting to get anxious about that. He promised Beckney he would kind of keep an eye on things and make sure things didn't escalate. And marbles? Yeah, sure. What?
And everyone is like, when you talk, like none of them have ever seen a pangolin before.
Or they've seen just very quiet pangolin.
Right, they've seen like non-anthropomorphic. Like they've seen like an armadillo.
Vow of silence pangolin.
Yeah.
I was gonna say dead pangolins, but yeah.
Right. So they've never.
Well, they couldn't tell
and they're
that
all
it was
like,
a dead pangolin.
and they're like, yeah. And they're like, all right, well, come on over. And so I think as Beckney's coming out, they're sort of awkwardly trying to like sort out some marbles games. I think there's a flat place maybe kind of across from where Ilion's house is where people can play marbles or whatever. So Beckney, what do you do as you come out of the house and you see everyone's just sort of like hanging out?
Milling about.
Yeah.
I think they try to play it cool. I think they definitely try to play it as though like they didn't just have like 3 or 4 different revelations all in the span of a 10-minute conversation, and they just try to stroll up kind of casually, you know.
Oh, what's going on over here? What are you doing? Everything's fine.
I think Veshna has pegged one of the kids in like a really like intense staring contest. And I think she just sort of awkwardly pats the place on the bench beside her, and like her eyes and this other kid's eyes are like boring into each other. Like you almost feel like it's one of those like anime fights where it's like, and I with the blue energy power will fight you with the green energy power. Who's gonna win? It's like that.
And yeah, Becky will sit down, but they're not sure what the hell is going on here. Like they're more confused than when they went in. And they're casting around to see if they can get Pyron's eye.
It helped if I unmuted myself. Yes. Pyron's like trying to get away from these kids that want to play marbles and get over to you.
Okay.
It's like,
Yeah,
I don't know. No, I play marbles different. Give me a sec. I'm going over here.
That's exactly how I get away from children. Like, no, I don't play games. I'm dead. Goodbye.
I think as you were having this conversation, most of the group's attention is also sort of pulled to Callie, who is probably way stronger. Like, has Callie played marbles before?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Probably with not with real marbles though, but like really round pebbles and things like that. And I kind of imagine Callie just flicking the shooter marble and just sending them flying everywhere, right. And some of the kids are having to chase them down and stuff.
That's what I was thinking too. They're like, no, too hard, and they're really enjoying the hilarity of this and sort of no, teach us how to do that. And some of them were like, come on, you gotta be. So they're all occupied over there, and Pyron and Beckney are able to steal a little bit of time together.
Perfect.
So yeah, Beckney will kind of sit Pyron down. They're not going to move very far from Veshna because they do want Veshna to hear some of it. And they kind of lean over to Pyron
so they didn't know.
Well, it sucked.
That's okay. They invited us to go and look around town if we want to do that.
I mean, we can't. Did you want to walk into any more houses? See if someone else knows?
Not really. I kind of want to learn that song that I sang when I was a kid, because I don't know all the words. I can't sing it really well.
And Beckney will kind of put their hand on Veshna's knee without looking at her, just kind of a hey, this is for you as well.
They told me that magic costs stuff. It costs how old you are.
So
I think Veshna kind of loses the staring contest and turns to Beckney and says, is that why there aren't any middle-aged people here?
Oh no, there's lots of middle-aged people. They just look super old, I think, maybe. At least that one did.
I think Veshna...
They look like grandpa.
I just pictured a wrinkly pangolin. It's the cutest thing. Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry. Pyron was a little bit lost because he was trying to do. He was setting up this new economic system that he thought that you had revealed about magic. He's so it's cheaper when you're younger, so we should use all the magic now before it gets too expensive. Wait, what?
Inflation again.
It makes you old. They didn't say how much, but that's why most of them are old.
I think when you look at if you look at each other, I'm not sure you can tell if you're older or not. I mean, maybe you look older, but maybe it's just all the adventures you've been on and how many levels you've gained of life, right? It's hard to know, and the more you look for something, sometimes the less you can see it, right?
I think Veshna is just sort of looks like I think that Veshna is sort of coming to sort of the end of the whatever, I mean, the bucket has been empty. It was sort of refilled when Fen didn't die, but there's a little bit of this sort of adrenaline, right? Refilling of bucket. But I feel like Veshna's a little bit okay. So Beckney, we're here for you right now in Lido. What are you feeling right now? I mean, don't think not about us or about anything. What is it that you're feeling right now?
Feeling like I want to go find out whose car alarm is going off.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm feeling anything.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's very interesting that we've been here for 3 days with Satriel and the Fawns, and Faunus knows everything, and no one has said anything until we meet this one person here in this village. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know either, Beckney, but whatever you want to do, we'll do it. And, I mean, if worse comes to worse, there's lots of people in town that I think, maybe the mayor wouldn't be the best, but I think there's lots of people in town that would help us with Lido. And I mean, I don't know.
If we go back, Pyron and I will have to be the mayor.
Yeah, I've been thinking, Beckney, a little bit about that, because I think it makes sense, I guess, that our parents and families want what they think is going to be the best for us. But it doesn't have to be that way. I don't have to embroider. Fen doesn't have to live in a river. Callie doesn't have to be a vegetable farmer. Pyron and you don't have to make rules. I mean...
Wait, go back to Fen. Where's Fen gonna live?
I don't know. Wherever Fen wants to live. Just you can do whatever you want to do, and Callie can farm whatever they want to farm. Or not farm. And, I mean... Daddy always says that my grandpa was a fisherman, and my daddy doesn't like water, and he runs a bar. So at some point, familial disappointment is sort of have to become some sort of expectation. And, maybe they'll just have to deal. And maybe we'll have to make it work. But, we've done pretty well up until now with Lido, and maybe it won't be living with all goblins, but with you there, Beckney, Lido will have the best goblin I've ever met. And that's, that's got to be something. So I don't know, maybe we won't get all the answers we need, but, whatever you want, we'll do it. But maybe we'll just have to figure it out for ourselves and not follow what other people have already figured out. And then I think to break the tension, she's gonna whip around and nail the kid right in the eyes with the staring contest. And like, got you. I'm literally a fox. Have you met a fox? This is what we do. And she's gonna turn back to Beckney and like put, like as Beckney has their hand on her knee, she's gonna put her hand on Beckney's knee and be like, you know, I mean, we did this. I mean, stands to reason we can do a lot of other things too.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't get a lot of what you said, but I think it can't just be up to me.
Maybe not. If it helps, I do have a flow chart. I think Vesha will pull out a flow chart and like a folded piece of paper.
The moment you mention the word flowchart, you can see Beckney's eyes glaze over.
I think
just like an instinctual reaction to work.
But I think if they unfold it, do they unfold it?
I think they do just out of habit. Like it's a very mechanical, like, oh, yep, here we go. Larkin's teaching me something.
I think they unfold it and it's a picture of like, a similar to the picture drawn of Fen. It's a picture of Beckney with holding in one arm like a crudely drawn trophy with baby Leto floating above, and the trophy says #1 goblin. And like that's the flow chart. And there's a little flag above Leto that says #1 goblin junior. I admit I started it before the naming ceremony, so you know, I mean, there may need to be some additions, but we'll work that out. We'll have a meeting.
And I think Beckney just goes in for a hug. They don't say anything. They just go in for a hug.
Veshta hugs back.
Thanks, Veshta. And if you want to talk about the stuff,
and they kind of just like gesture in the general direction of Fen, not like at, but kind of like a sweeping like and anywhere in that vicinity.
Just it's even if it's not the answer you wanted, sometimes it's nice to know where the river came from.
Yeah, you know, I appreciate that, Beckney. I really appreciate that. I think I've learned that I know how to talk about a lot of other things with other people, but I'm still learning how to talk about things with me. So I'm a little behind, but right now we're going to work on figuring out what's best for you and what's best for Leto, and I really think the rest of it will probably work out.
I'm going to be honest, the baby kind of takes care of itself mostly.
Yeah. How do you tell a baby goblin about premature aging? I mean, my Auntie Orla always talks about wrinkles, but I don't know if that really translates across species. And I think Vesha sort of like tilts her head, and you could tell she's sort of like, you can see the sort of like that meme with the person
all the equations, yeah,
in the background, yeah.
Beckney's definitely doing the same, but there's only like 2 equations going across, and both of them are just like 2 plus question mark equals pi. Like they make no sense.
I think that Ilion is going to come out of their house and sort of walk over and be like, "Hey, everybody! I'm Ilion. I'm kind of in charge around here. Welcome to Fishville, and we're happy to have you. And if you're friends of these two, if you're a friend of Leto, you're a friend of Fishville. Hello, Riverbound. I don't want to intrude, but if you would like to come what if I can do something to help you here? I have actually collected a few things for Lido in this bag here that might help you with them.
Thanks. Thank you. This is Veshna, and this is my brother Pyron. And that's Fen, and that's Callie, and Sage isn't here right now, but they're nice. I'm Beckney.
I sort of understand that you all started doing magic like a week ago.
Yep.
I
Most
told
of
these
us.
two, but
Well, apparently not.
Well, not
Sorry.
this does you. Is this Riverbound with you?
yeah.
Yeah. So your pardon. This doesn't really have to do with you, but of course you're welcome to be here. Can I have a conversation with you?
But does Fen not age?
Not in the same way.
Oh, what?
You're made out of water. I don't know.
For what it's worth, I don't get to eat pie either, so you know.
Pie's not that great. There's rarely ever bugs on it.
I think I have something that might help you, Beckney. I don't.
Is it like cream?
No, it's not. And then I think they like sort of rummage around their pockets and give like a penny to all of the goblin children. Like, shoo, 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 shoo. This isn't about you. Go down to the market. Get a piece of candy. Go.
We teach
go,
the baby
Go.
about commerce.
Go.
And
I
bribery.
would love to have this conversation with you, not in the middle of the street. Would you come in?
What's wrong with the street?
It's not as private.
It's steep too.
It's very steep. We lose more marbles that way.
Why don't you just play
Couple
marbles
marbles.
at the bottom of the hill?
Can I invite you in? Or come sit on the lawn or in the yard? I mean.
I think as he makes the, we lose more marbles that way, Callie just sort of leans over to Veshna and whispers, I think he's lost quite a few marbles at this point.
We'll check the bottom of the hill on our way back to the boat.
Good idea.
I think Veshna is sort of staring this individual directly in the face in this sort of way of like it's the middle school dance where like the two people who are in a were they won't they situation and they're both emotionally involved, but then it's the friend who's like, I don't have a hormonal dog in this fight, but I will cut a bitch. And it's Veshna sort of looking at this individual as if she's like across a high stakes poker game.
I'm just picturing like someone going out to meet like a date at their car, and there's just a dog in the window. Like, I will go through this sheet glass right now.
We mostly don't have. We mostly have Riverbound and goblins here, but if I could offer you something to eat,
Most of them don't eat bugs.
we can rustle up something.
I brought some snacks from home also, so we'll be fine.
Damn, you really stretch those out.
I only told Callie about half of them.
So, do you go with Ilion or not?
Yeah. I think
up.
Becky suggests the lawn.
Yeah, Veshna gets up and it's literally like she's Beckney's Secret Service agent.
Street's clear.
Yeah.
We're checking with each other on invisible earpieces right behind.
Oh my god. The parent is moving. Repeat. The parent is moving.
And
good.
so Ilion's yard is not. It like maybe has some shell, like a. I guess it wouldn't be a ton of shells, but like rock, like river rocks and stuff in it. But it's not like. I mean, it's a functional lawn. like the rest of them are. So you were trying to say something, Kelly?
Oh, I was just asking. Has anybody told Callie about the aging thing yet?
Not yet. We're gonna get
'Kay.
there.
Just making sure I didn't miss that.
No.
Ilion asks you all to sit and says, I understand you've come a long way to be here. And maybe are disappointed in us, in this place. We're pretty practical here, and I'm not sure I can help with much of that, except you need to know, if you haven't been doing magic, you need to know there's a cost. And if you imagine that your life is like a glass that's filled up when you know, and slowly it goes down, or whatever, or like a rope, and you get to the end, you can do magic, but it takes a little of it. And the energy has to come from somewhere. It's not the same for the Riverbound. It's not the same for...
Wait, so it takes energy to do magic?
Yes. Life energy.
Oh. I just need to eat more then. Because you have to eat to get energy to do stuff, and sounds like magic's just more energy, so I just need to eat more. That makes sense.
It doesn't work quite that way, but
Callie's like pointing at her head like, I got big brain.
And I think Ilion's gonna turn to like, who seems to be in charge here? This fox girl.
This is why Callie should not be away from Sage.
I'm amazed we haven't all died yet, to be honest.
Right.
And it's not, and you are welcome here. You're from inside the bubble, right? What's it like in there?
Boring.
It's a small
Sometimes.
town. You don't do you don't do magic. My dad runs a tavern.
Our dad's the mayor.
Fenn's adoptive family runs the gate. We have adventurers come through sometimes.
Ugh, I'd take boring. I take boring. But you're welcome to stay here for a while if you want. You're welcome to go. We don't really have like most of our guests bring their own house with them. So we have a few wagons that are unoccupied that you're welcome to grab one that we keep for guests, but pretty much all our guests here are riverbound or they come with their own home. So we don't really have an inn, so to speak.
We appreciate your offer of hospitality. I think we'll probably maybe take a look around and then figure something out.
All right. Do you want a tour? Do you want to just do it yourselves?
Is Besh just sort of like looks at Beckney? Is Beckney saying yes to tour or yes to ourselves?
Beckney's just kind of absently nodding at this point. They're just kind of like, they have checked out a little bit. You can see their eyes are a bit distant.
Okay.
You can tell that they would be fine with either, but they're not really like choosy.
Where we come from, I noticed here your home was open. Where we come from, normally one would be introduced to make other people feel more comfortable. So if you'd like to give us a tour, if you have time, that would be lovely. If not, we're fine.
Well, the children have found you already. They don't get to see many people like yourselves. And so if you don't mind being stared at a little, I think everyone would like to meet you and especially Beckney and Lido and everyone is always welcome here. This is a place people stop all the time, and I'd like you to feel comfortable here for as long as you want to stay.
Thanks. I'm sure it seems as though you spend a lot of your time around the kids. I'm sure you can understand that it's been a long couple of weeks for us. So our energy level might not show it, but we do appreciate you sharing what you have here with us. So yeah, I think it's
I know all about trying to save your energy. Here, let me walk you over to the guest wagon. Why don't you take a load off there? And if you feel like a tour later, we'll do that. Yeah? All right. So Ilian's going to kind of walk you over, and there is like a little guest place, and they open it up, and it's small. I mean, it's really more like, it's not like 5 people big, right? But it's got some bunks, and it's small, and says, hey, make yourself at home. If you need anything, I'm sure anybody would be happy to help you. Fish is coming in soon. The Fisher people will be here pretty soon. They come in usually in the afternoon. So we'll have fish tonight. If you want some.
Does anyone sing here?
Yeah? Yes.
There's a song I remember when I was a baby that I don't know all the words to.
Well, that is probably something I can help you with. And so I think they're gonna Beckany, you have to walk back over to my house. I got some songbooks. We could look through them together and figure out which one you're talking about.
You'll have to read them to me. I don't... Like, I sort of can read, but not really well.
Me too. We'll sort it out together. And they're going to kind of sort of awkwardly pat your shoulders and sort of push you over towards the house. And I think that's kind of like where we'll leave it tonight. So I want to just sort of figure out like a really quick tableau of like what everyone does for the afternoon here at Fishville. I'm going to say one thing to sort of help you is there are lots of goblin children who now have like a small piece of candy and are like, they have lollipops and they're like delighted with themselves. There will be like at least one boat with fish in it coming in that they mostly eat fish here. Ilian was like really nice when they were like, we'll sort something out with the food, but wasn't really following you with the bug situation. So I think there will be fish later. I feel like maybe somebody could, might knock on the door and leave you some fish. So that's kind of what's happening in town. I also feel like, Beckany, you can maybe describe this for us, Jay, but, Ilian probably is really trying to help you figure out what you want. Maybe brings like the next door neighbor over to try to help figure it out too.
I think it's a lot of really, really scratchy attempts at singing, and it's a lot of like singing the same bar over and over and over because they only need like a few different bars, like not even a full verse. So I think it's a lot of Beckany kind of coming out of their comfort zone a little bit, but like surprisingly being okay with it, given being around goblins for the first time in forever, and recognizing kind of the similarities between them and the differences, even though how they grew up.
I sort of like the idea that like as you're trying to do this too, maybe other people who have some kind of business with Ilian wander in and they're like, oh yeah, okay, and like everyone gets really invested.
Yeah.
This out. Like just
it
the
takes
way
a village to figure out
sometimes
one
that just
song.
happens where like everyone buys in. So I feel like one scene is this like all these goblins being like, is it this? Is it this? Is it this? And
Well, maybe it's that. I think Beckney's okay, even if it turns out not to be the song. Like if they never find it, they're actually learning more songs than they ever knew.
what is Fen doing?
Finn is going to probably first go down to the bottom of the slope where it was suggested that they should play marbles at, and realize that it is just the shore. And is just gonna like see if there are any marbles just kind of hanging around under the water, and try to grab some for folks that may have lost them. And I think more than like a single conversation, I think as they're going around and folks are meeting them, I think Finn is just kind of like asking almost every person a variation of like, what's the how do you get along with a riverbound? What are the what is, what do they do? Why are they the only ones that come here? Like just trying to figure out, because everything looks really, really nice from like inside the lake, but that is inside the lake, and it would be, I think Finn would be curious as to what their perception, what the outside world's perception of them is.
Like, this is my new cat.
Oh.
Hello. Yeah, and I think what you learn is, well, first of all, I think you would have the sense the riverbound, the like lake riverbound here, really only know them. They only regularly interact with Fishville. So it's not like you have this other like sort of more worldly perspective of what you thought towns were like, and this is a little different, like land towns. But I don't necessarily think that's like part of it, right? It's not like the riverbound are like keeping the goblins down. This is just like how it is there. And the goblins sort of like will sell things. Like you could probably intuit that like the French horn of Lil Snippy probably came from here, right? When Lil Snippy outgrew all the shells that are in the river and the lake, Una probably came over here and like found something vaguely shell shaped for them. And there's like something, so they sort of do that. The goblins like the riverbound, but don't really understand them super well. They're definitely like, it's more like trading partners than friendship, right? Like they get along, but they're not, you get the sense it's kind of, what?
I was just saying they're not buds.
They're not
like
buds. I think you get the sense that it's relatively unusual for a riverbound to just hang out. Like in the town, usually like they come because there's business or something to do, but they generally don't have a ton to do with each other, like socially, if that makes sense. But they have a lot of respect for the riverbound and definitely feel like the riverbound being there like helps keep predators away.
I've got a thought in my head, Calliope, and let me know if this is wrong or not. Because you said that the riverbound, like the ones in the lake are all a little bit more loosey-goosey, and they're a little bit quicker and more agile. And I think that the riverbounds in town are obviously like more used to being out of the water and doing things. And so I don't know if the goblins would have seen like the way that Finn just tableaus or becomes an exclamation mark, question mark, or the weird like emotes that Finn just kind of turns into just as a communication strategy at this point. I don't know if they've seen that before.
Yes, I think that's right. That's exactly right. And I don't know that the riverbound here like think about doing that. Because why would they do that? Everyone's in the water, right? And the ones that live in the bubble, they live with not magic most of the time. Like and have for potentially generations. So they just sort of are growing in a different direction as a group. Yeah, absolutely. And so I think they're very interested in you because they don't usually get to know a lot about Riverbound, but they're very respectful too.
Okay, cool. Did we ever get a chance to give Beckney the necklace? Pyron's got it, right?
Yeah. So Pyron, what are you
Okay.
doing?
I would have had it with me for that bench conversation earlier.
We can add that in if you want to do that at that point.
I'm fine either way. Pyron's having a little bit of a freak out right now, but trying to like do that outside of anyone's sight because this is not his time for attention. But yeah, he's immediately suspicious of this guy that's like, no, magic is bad for you. Also, like being very friendly to Beckney, and he's freaking out about that because it's what if he's lying and magic's not bad for you, and that's just something that parents here tell their kids to get them to behave, that kind of thing. Because otherwise you'd have to be dealing with kids popping everywhere, and it's like, oh no, like they're gonna get you if you keep doing that type thing. Or else that's real, and then all of his plans about how magic was gonna fix everything in his life are falling apart. So.
What about you, Callie?
Hyperventilating behind the shed, I guess.
I love that.
Callie is busy doing two things. One, she's trying to like come up with ways to like fly and fight and stuff with her newfound abilities, with using them as little as possible. So almost like you would try to figure out like, all right, if I've got this like spaceship and I need to get somewhere, like what's the minimum amount of thruster I can use to get to where I want to go, sort of a thing. So she's doing that, and second is she's eating as much as humanly possible.
So
Much food
above
as
the
she can
table,
get.
I sort of see this aging thing as being kind of like when you don't wear sunblock, right? Like you might get a really bad sunburn, but most of the time people are like, if you don't put on sunscreen in 40 years, you might get skin cancer. And you're like, okay. And then you do it, right? Because you don't want to have that, but it doesn't happen like tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're 14.
Absolutely. Right. And I love the reactions that you're having. It's exactly right. But that's like, I just want to make sure I was being clear in the way that I was explaining, that Calliope was explaining it to you.
Oh, yeah. Callie's just convinced that it's like, oh, you just need more calories, and it doesn't actually do anything. But she's also trying to figure out, like, how can I use it most efficiently so that I don't have to eat, 3 times what a normal person would eat, just twice. So that's pretty much all Callie's doing.
Veshna, did I get you? No, I can't remember. Okay, I didn't think so.
So Veshna is definitely like, I think she kind of took a walk around town by herself. Like went down to the market stall where like the kids got their candy and sort of like wandered around. I think she picked up like a smoked fillet of fish on a stick. And is kind of wandering around and like talking to some of the other kids and like talking to some of the like older kids who seem to be in charge. Just sort of just talking to them. Because like everything they've been doing for such a long time has been like on a quest. And I think she's just sort of like taking downtime. And I think she teaches some of the girls hopscotch, or like the variation of their local variation of hopscotch, like their map that they use in Pyland Town.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it's just a lot of that. And then I think that she sort of like actually sleeps on top of the cart.
I love that. And I think one of the things that Veshna would notice is that, like, you know, when you go into a place and a city or something, and you know that it's like a working class neighborhood, that like everyone here is working. They're not like paying landscapers. They're not like independently wealthy. Everyone here is just doing the best they can, and you definitely get that vibe out of here. And I think you really do notice that like everybody's kind of not using magic as much as possible, although occasionally people cheat because they're children, and they can. And yeah, and they're super interested in you. They're interested in your fur. They're super interested in your hopscotch. They know how to make chalk out of shells, and so maybe they're like drawing in chalk.
Yeah, I think she leaves a Steps to Respect poster with like the oldest kid who seems to be like doing a lot of the babysitting.
And yeah, and the oldest kid is like, this is fascinating. We always use first steps here.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, I think
that's the one that has the pictures and you have to guess what it is. But this is a much more comprehensive curriculum. Thank you.
It's very flowchart heavy. That is a criticism. I think that images would have been better.
What's a flowchart?
And I think this is like Veshna's like dun da da da. Like it's like the music swells and Veshna's like a flurry of chalk on like some pier somewhere.
And all the goblins are like, whoa.
Yeah. I feel like there's like a lot of workplace synergy conversations happening. And I think after Pyron sort of processes, I think Veshna's like, come, the icebreakers, they're here. Talk to them about the icebreakers. She kind of like brings Pyron in after Pyron is like, if Pyron has processed, if not, it's fine. And then be like, oh, my friend Pyron talks all about icebreakers. And icebreakers have a very central portion of this chart because in order to form a culture of respect and make your way through the steps to respect, you have to have good icebreakers. And I think she teaches them like 2 truths and a lie and like,
yeah, and they're like, and they teach you hide the fish head, and like you have to walk around and say hot or cold for the where the fish head is.
Yeah.
Or like you have to pass the small fish head around, but everyone has to pretend like they're doing it, so you don't know who has the fish head. It's a fish eye, I think, actually, at this point. But all right, so in this beautiful tableau, we're gonna leave everybody, and there you go. So what will happen next week? We don't know, but I bet you probably better go get Sage, or they're gonna be really, really grumpy.
Yeah.
All
right.
Yeah.
We're gonna go on a raid here shortly. Before we do, I'm gonna let everybody say what their favorite part was, where we can find them next, and anything they'd like to share or plug. And yeah, we'll start with Pat this time. What was your favorite part? Where can folks find you? And anything you want to share or plug?
That startled me. Starting with me.
Sorry.
No, it's oh gosh, I have to think of things so much faster now. Yeah, I'm Pat. My favorite part was, I think it was the one-on-one conversation in the house, and just how well Beckney just navigated that. Yes, that. Sorry, I'm not used to going first. So yes, that's why that's my favorite
That's
part.
not that easy, is it?
No, I never said it was. I just kept my mouth shut because I didn't want to do it. But yes, you can catch me besides here Sunday nights with several other lovely people in this group playing Urban Shadows over on my channel.
Awesome. We'll hop over to Jay next. Favorite part? Where can folks find you? Anything you want to share or plug?
Honestly, I think it's probably a tie between the whole boat scene, which was just like I could picture it. It was like, idiots crossing the Rubicon. It's just gorgeous. Is between that and the little like group huddle conversation they were all having while Beckney just like pieced into the house. I think both of those were really good because it showed a lot of like deeper characterization in a very short amount of time. Like normally we'll spend that like over a whole episode, and I think we really condensed a lot of it, and that was really cool. But like I just liked everyone else's bit today. Like I think being in the spotlight is like less entertaining personally than like watching someone else in the spotlight. Because when you're in the spotlight, it's just it's just you. But then you get you get to communicate with everyone else on the sidelines when it's not you. But yeah, that was a wonderful session. I'm fine. I didn't actually cry. And you can catch me next on Saturday at 6 Mountain Time for Animus Absentis, where I might cry. It's possible. It's happened before.
Yeah. All right, awesome. I see. Same questions.
Oh man, so my favorite part. Holy smokes. I think I liked the Goblin Town. I think that it's interesting to play with the idea, especially in an adventure game, of not finding answers to your questions. Because I feel like there's such like there's a series of assumptions that you make, especially in RPGs or in like gaming in general, that your quest is you come to answers. And I think that it's interesting to be a player and a character and process the frustration, because there's like a part of you that is sitting there being like, oh my god, Calliope, what word do I have to say for you to tell me why the hell we have this effing baby? But then there's also a piece of it that's like, that's kind of part of like the world, is that sometimes you don't know and sometimes things just happen. And like, I think that that's prescient in the world that we're all living in now, where you see this quest for easy answers and things to be sort of done up in a nice bow. And I think we've all been through sort of a process of realizing that that's not always the case. And that's interesting. So I think not as a like, gee, that was fun favorite part, but it's like got a lot for my brain to chew on favorite part. I think the gee, that was fun favorite part is absolutely the boat situation, because there is something really funny about a bunch of kids who have no business doing literally anything being like, yeah, we're gonna get on a raft and cross the lake. I don't want to. What do you mean? I want to talk to you. That's what we're doing. So that's really fun. I am IC Historian at IC Historian, all of the places on the internet that I feel like being found. You can catch me here until the end of the season. On this time, you can catch me on Sundays with Zan and Pat for Urban Shadows. You can catch me almost every Monday from now until the end of August on Zan's channel for Gaming the Systems with Calliope and Zan, and a project that I'm going to invent just so that I can also plug something with Raven and Jay other than this. We're going to be playing Be Best Friends for Forever, a D system published by
The League of Other Kids Who Are Your Friends.
Yes, the League of Other Kids Who Are Your Friends.
Fantastic. I love that. All right, Zan. Favorite part? Where can folks find you? Anything you want to share or plug?
See, now, folks earlier were talking smack about always going first and how that's the worst, and I can only imagine how nice it is to go first at the end when all of the great moments haven't already been highlighted. Not glaring at anyone in particular. And but I'm Zan. I'm a content creator for a whole bunch of really cool games, and you can find me in a whole bunch of places. Tuesday and Fridays in the super early hours of the morning, I'm on Polished Cryptid's channel. Tuesdays, I'm here. Sundays, I am over on Attack Dork's channel, since the They Came From wrapped up last week over there. And on Mondays, like IC mentioned, I'm over on, and Calliope, I don't think Calliope's gone yet. No, right? Calliope? Okay, wonderful. And I on my channel for Gaming the Systems on Monday. Last week we did They came from beneath the sea, and so my brain is just, I don't know, I'm just floundering for a better game at the moment. Yeah, and I am also writing a 5e supplement that is a class with 5 subclasses called the Dreaded Necromancer, which is a revitalization and reimagining of the 3.5 Dread Necromancer. And I've said it enough times that now Dreaded Necromancer sounds correct, and Dread Necromancer feels weird. So cool, I guess that's a good thing. And I had some wonderful help from IC this week, and I just want to promo one of the upper level abilities of the Psychopomp subclass, and that is the voice of the Judgment of the Metatron, and it's gonna be a really cool thing. But my favorite part of this this session was I liked to see everybody's one. I loved the reaction to the Fast and the Furious reference because I think that was gold. It was like I started talking and then it was just like, oh no, I can make this into a Don Toretto reference. And sure enough, it was comedy gold, as Gallivant might say. But I really, on a little bit more serious note, I really loved the like kind of internal processes that you could see everybody going through when we learned that magic was costing your life, and about the rationalization and the like, oh, I've used it on really trivial things since we've been out here and I had no idea. And you could see people doing mental gymnastics and it was fascinating. Yeah, that's me and all my stuff. Follow me on and everything is Insanity TTRPG or Insanity Gaming. Check it out.
Awesome. And then Calliope, same questions.
When I was saying I can go first. I don't care. I'll go first. I'll go last. I don't care when I go. But thank you. That was very kind of you to hear my feedback, Raven.
No worries.
So first of all, I want to give the Oscar to most inspired performance in which I could not tell if you were actually crying or not to Jay. That was so good. Jay, you were a wonderful actor. Like, I was so there with you. Keep up the good work. I love the idea of the tiny fox legs in the air. Like, that's the image for me. That's really funny. I really appreciated when Fen gave the Lucrocata rock to Una to keep, like, to say, like, I will come back for this. That was, like, just a very kind thing for that character to do. And yeah, I loved watching you all be horrified that magic had a cost. To speak to IC's point, for me, it's really, I'm not interested, like, I've been reading fantasy books since I could read, and I'm sort of not interested in easy answers anymore. And I think that's one of the things that's really valuable about this age group, is this is that time. That's why I like them so much. This is that time where you go, oh crap, there isn't a black and white answer. Like, maybe this isn't going to be what I wanted. And so sorry, Beckney, for not giving you the answers that you wanted, but like, it would have been really twee if like all of it was wrapped up real nice. You know what I mean? So, and I think that's what's so interesting to me about this age group and about stories is like, what do you do when there's no easy answer? And you're all doing a great job is the answer. So I'm Calliope. I'm here. I'm on Zan's channel. I'm done talking.
All right. That just leaves me. My favorite parts were, the whole scene with Beckney in the house. That was just amazing. And then I also really enjoyed the boat scene as well, and also everybody waking up and those absolutely ridiculous foxes. And with the human heads and the strange things that they get up to, they're fun. Yeah, those were my favorite parts. You can find me next. I'm still confirming if we're gonna have Exodus tomorrow, because I know we've got some casts that have been sick, and not sure if everybody's gonna feel up to it tomorrow or not. So I will keep you posted on Twitter. If not, then I should be back on Thursday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time for more not Animus, Elite Beskar. the other sci-fi show that starts with an A. Elite Beskar, which is our Star Wars show. Somebody fought a Jedi Master last week, and it went about as well as you could expect for someone who just found out they had Force powers. So it's going really well. It's a lot of fun. You should come check it out. And then other stuff to share or plug is sponsors. Let me get those links into chat, which is Fundamental RPG. It's the system that this game runs on. Also Animus. Intrepid, which is adventuring gear for real life. You can find that at coffee.com/Raven. You can find Fundamental RPG on Amazon for the physical book or for the PDF at coffee.com/Raven. And then Die Hard Dice, which are just some of my absolute favorite dice to use. You can find their stuff at dieharddice.com. I especially recommend the Fey Bloom set. It's really pretty. But if you use the code BLACKFEATHER, all one word with a capital B, you can get 10% off your entire order. And then if you want to catch up on this show or others on the channel, you can do so at the Fantasy Network at watch.thefantasy.network. And then finally, speaking of Animus, just plugging the Animus lore and roleplay server. If you've enjoyed our Saturday night shows, the Animus Absentus galaxy or universe, there is a Discord server now which explains, I'm working on filling it out with all of the information for all the different locations and all the world building that's happened over 50 episodes of the show. And that's half of it, and the other half is a roleplay server. So eventually it's going to be its own tabletop book. You'll be able to get that and tell your own stories and stuff, but that's going to take a while. So in the meantime, I want to let people sort of play in that sort of sci-fi sandbox, if you will. So you can go on that Discord server and make a character and roleplay with other people. I'm doing a story event right now with cool stuff that's happening that's going to give a little bit of a sneak preview into what's going to be in the next Animus show next season, which is Animus Violentus. So cool stuff that's happening there. I highly recommend hopping in there and playing around. The link to that server is in chat. I think that's everything for me. So our raid cry is going to be, it's still got that new creepiness smell. Feel free to copy that out of chat. And we're going to go raid Nerdsmith, which is a fantastic channel and community. So give them a follow as well. And then I will see you all, if not tomorrow, on Thursday. Bye, everybody.